Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Shlooms. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set so purposefully upon the dish, like the victim's Last Supper, in fact? Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. Does it, though? Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt it with chopsticks. I mean, neither's good. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Is there any soap in his mouth? That would be my question. Like, it's just... Well, the other half of the soap then. Right? Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamspeare must really have loved the stuff. Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at this soap. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table? What the? How can that be? It's almost like he didn't eat it. I think that they are 2 halves of the same bar that broke apart. Like he was going to cut it in half and then eat it. So yeah, it's that then. Let's replace it with that.
Take that!
I should really have investigated everything else thinking about it. I just got so drawn in. Hey, hold on, stop rushing ahead. Jeez. What did you say? History? History, how do I history? Was that oh no, that's that. Take that! Yes, alright, fair enough. That was it. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table, in short, the victim was not eating soap at all. I've gone very sort of like Shatner with Shrooms for some reason. I don't know why. But it's obvious, really. For no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. You did what? But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. It's gotta be the cup then. Mr. Shlooms is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it? If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? The cup! Let's look around the rest of the stuff now, just so we can get some idea. Alright, so, let's have a look. If the victim didn't eat the soap, then what did he eat? Yes, it's a real mystery, isn't it? Ah, I've got it. He wasn't interested in eating the soap at all. It was this fork he wanted to satisfy his hunger with. What? Mr. Naruhodo, I really don't think it's helpful to continue with this line of reasoning, that the gentleman had peculiar tastes. Suzuto-san has such a gentle way with words, but I know it, I've been told off. Yeah, mate. Like, you think he's gonna eat the fork? Okay, well, we'll have a look at the contents. The contents of the plate is just soap again, isn't it? Well, you know there's a saying in Japanese, don't you? If your food is poisoned, you might as well eat the plate and all. What? Well, there's an image. What? All I can picture now is the victim first taking a bite of the soap and then the plate. The soap, like some tofu, and the plate like a gigantic rice cracker. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Oh dear. That sounds like a very bland combination. I don't think that's the issue. Okay. Right, it's gotta be the cup, though. Like, he had a drink. The liquid here, you know. It's gotta be. I mean, this is a tutorial-y type thing. We know it's fine. So. Yes, a Western vessel for serving of infusions of dried tea leaves. It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo. As you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty. So we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea. My thoughts exactly. There we go then.
Take that!
Take that! Teacup! Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners of the centuries. And it would appear that the victim drank every last drop. Well, it's only proper to drink every last drop of tea. As you know, Mr. Schlemps, there's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Why are you twitching like crazy? Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Oh, how did you figure that out? Oh. Poison in the tea. Solved. Well, the cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? I mean, the audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. I mean, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deductions so far. Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that. But what troubles me is Mr. Natsumi's reaction when he heard Mr. Shlom suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues. We must. Alright, so, well, straight away I'm like, well, that's not his teacup, it's this teacup. Yeah, Alright, so we've already investigated you, we've already investigated the fork. Like, is there anything, what about the hat on the floor? Can we have a look at that? No. Okay, so it's the other teacup. It's another Western vessel for, it's a teacup! And it too is empty. Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, we can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shamspeare was actually drinking. A lot of dots. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we deduced up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it. Yes, I know exactly how you feel. I mean, it's got a rim around it on the inside. This one, I don't think does. Like this one's got like a rim for tea, which implies there was a drink in there. Like if you leave, I don't know, like other people might know this. Like if you leave a tea for a little while, it'll leave a little bit of a rim. It'll leave a little circle on the inside of the cup. If you don't drink tea, you might not know that. I'm not sure if it happens with coffee because you know my stance there. Anyway.
Take that!
Did the man dine and die alone? The other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case... So I keep having to jump between them, and it's like, just like, right, bring it down from Shlomes to... In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know who exactly was in the room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. No, clearly not then, because it stopped on it. Not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest, who was in here last night when the victim passed away, is something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. Alright, so let's get a good look at these things. Glasses over there as well. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read... A Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gaburai? Gaburou? Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. It could just be an incredible coincidence, but... in the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Soseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them, that's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before. He's lying! What does this mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. Pile of familiar books. Oh. It's empty. Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it? It makes me think that you're full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time. Bother. Suso-san's quick in response was cleverer than my original riddle. Is this starting to be like another ladder, step ladder, shovel or spade, you know? Are we not really? We're really not investigating those classes over there? Okay. Well, it's gonna be the familiar books, I feel. Oh dear, the latch is most definitely broken, isn't it? The door was kicked in by Mr. Natsume, according to what Mr. Garadeb told the inspector. Who knew his short, thin little legs had so much strength in them? Legs are powerful, by the way. Even if like you haven't got much muscle, they are quite powerful, just so you know. Not sure the length of his legs is in any way significant here. Perhaps this says more about the poor state of the door than about Mr. Natsume's strength, actually. Careful. If he overheard that remark, he'd almost certainly have a lively response. I don't know. Can this broken lock really tell us anything about who was here? Right. It's the books.
Take that!
Boom! Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. The link to the truth. Mr. Natsumi, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment? No, never. Non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested in the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. What's with those poses? What are you doing? Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. Dun-dun. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor was you, Mr. Soseki Natsumi. Dun dun dun. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Well, that was fun. Soseki Natsumi at the scene. But did he kill him? I'm going with no. Elementary, my dear. Not again, not again, not again. Not again. Well then, Mr. Natsumi. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again? But wait. Hold your horses. I don't have any horses, mate. Yes. Door, key, locked. Entry, exit, entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You've had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But misery me. Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible Herlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but you have to help me. Please, please, I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. Well, of course. And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Oh dear. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. At least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And, of course. What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspeare. Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. Right. You must remember to go and talk to him later then. Alright. Let's have an examine. Alright, what we got? Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room, which is grim, with its shady goings on. Shady goings? And this one looks like a king's attire. A king? I've always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo or such like. Am I saying that right? Probably not. With a Tron Mage top knot. Okay. Every Japanese man wishes he had a Tron Mage? Tron Mage? Oh, you'd look wonderful with one. And you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Tron Mage and a sword? Tron? Someone let me know. I probably know what it is, I just don't know it's named that. There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. I want to know about those glasses, though. And both of them are cracked. Yes. Not much use, are they? And you can see the things on the floor we want to look at. A lot of dots. What's the matter? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Prosecutor Lord Van Zykes. Yes. He's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. Like here, it's like that shard there. Like, what's going on with this? What's this? Looks like a part of an envelope. Oh, it's not a shard. Okay. It looked like maybe it was jade or something like that. It looks like it's part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? Ah, she's right. And yet, here we have the torn-off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. No, that's correct, it's very unusual. I agree. We'd better take this, just in case. The torn-off end of the envelope has been entered into the court record, a ripped piece of an envelope that was found in Mr. Shamspeare's room. The rest of the envelope could not be located. Alright. So I want to know about his hat here. Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Sorry? I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Indeed. What is the British way? And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind. Yeah, based on the dials at the top, it's probably a gas meter. I mean, the fact it's tied up with the gas lamp, it is probably that. Plus also the fact, I don't think they have electricity at this point in this place. I think. Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins. Ah, so it's a coin-operated meter, okay. I see. Yes, now you've pointed it out. I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean, if you put a coin in here... That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So, if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold. Lots of blankets, mate. Lots of blankets. Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Or is there? And you're not filling it up and then boom, one day you're just gonna find out, nope, you haven't paid for your gas, mate. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? Must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. You can see it! Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. It's definitely full of hot air. But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mr. Garadeb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Yeah, you can have both. Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. See, for me, I prefer induction for cooking at least. It's just more energy efficient. Simple as that. Just more energy efficient. This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespeare performances? Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their heart, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. What? And then you could practice your art every single day. Yep. I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge. Well, if that would help you achieve your goal. This I have to see. That'd be kind of strange if she'd dress up for a part. Like, oh dear. I can't see that happening. What? Why do we need that little bit extra then? I'd already got it. I thought it was going to be the other half of the room. But no. Clothes. We know about the window and the window tax. As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. Indeed. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property? It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh. What is it, Miss Susato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh yeah! The mortar's gone. Oh yes. It looks as though an amateur has broken out. A few of them just here. What's with the bars of soap? Was it Mr. Shamspeare who did it? I wonder, being the lodger renting this room, I'm just wondering about this. Why is there 2 bars of soap there now? Ah, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What? Outside? Why is there bars of soap outside? Why? It's so cold outside, you can feel it through this gap. It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Charming? Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are 2, after all. Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap. Ah! It's got a button on it. Do you see? In the middle there? There's a patch that's a different colour. It's sort of transparent, but... some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Looks like You know Maru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How do you say that? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? And what's it doing in this ramshackle old room and on a window ledge behind some bricks? The bar of soap has been entered into the court record. Cheap bar of soap that was discovered just outside Mr. Shamspeare's window. It's one of 2 that were found there. Alright, then let's leave here. And move on over. New location has been added. To, Mr. Garadeb's room. Yeah, probably for the best, isn't it?